You wasted my time. Hello? Hey guys, so I literally recorded a 5-minute intro, said everything correctly, made a lot of cute little jokes, and I wasn't recording. So, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be doing my July reading wrap-up. I have never in my life had bigger whiplash when it comes to a reading month. So I read 4 5-star books. We're really excited, really happy about that. I love giving you guys God tier books to read. And one of the books that I read this month, 2 of the books that I read this month, I think I might recommend for the rest of my life. Like, they were so good. I also, though, read my first in years 1-star book. I have a 1-star book on this list, and I'm a little afraid to tell you what it is because it is a very popular, well-loved. Some people hate it, but a lot of people love this book and a lot of people gave it 5 stars. I gave it 1 star. I legitimately hated it. Hated it. And I'm kind of scared to tell you. Let me tell you why I'm scared to tell you. I was doing kind of reading updates for it on Instagram on stories, and I posted sort of a not clear picture of my reaction to the end. And people love this book so much that they were like grasping at straws and like responding, "Oh my God, so you rated it 5 stars, right? Like it was 5 stars. I can't wait to hear your review." And I'm like, "No, girl, I hated it." So I'm terrified to tell you guys about that. But honestly, I'm excited that one of them is popular because it's been a minute since I've pissed some people off. So get out your pitchforks. I'm also going to tell you my top 3 like hypothesized 5-star reads of August. 1 I've already started and 2 have got such incredible reviews that I will personally be offended if they're not 5 stars. So let's go over what I read in June. And I also went on vacation. I went to Florida. I went to Villains and Vixens, which is a big book con. And I read 4 of my books this month on vacation. So we're going to go over that. I'm going to tell you how the book con was, what I thought of it, whether or not I think you should go to book cons. And I think that's it. Also, you guys have been telling me, not so subtly, for the past few months that I need a microphone for my YouTube videos. Apparently it will heavily elevate my videos. So let me know if this video is better than all of my others because I have a little mini mic. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm getting really stressed out having this mic because I am an Aries and I usually yell. I'm usually talking to you guys at this level right here. I'm usually yelling so much that I run out of breath while I'm giving you my like YouTube videos are actually incredibly strenuous to make because I run out of breath because I'm yelling at you in my theater voice the entire time I'm making them. So I will tell you, talking at a normal low volume into this mic is giving me anxiety because I'm feeling like I need to be yelling and I'm not yelling. So anyway, let me know how the audio quality is if you like my little mic. His name is Bob. And yeah, let's go over my 8 books that I read in July. I'm going to tell you whether or not I think you should read them. I'm probably going to offend some people with my 1-star review, and I cannot wait to tell you the tea because this month I've had a very emotional reading month. Like the books that I liked, I really liked, and the books that I hated, I really hated. So let's get into it. It's been a minute since I've been upset about reading. All right, so before we go over July, listen, this month I went to Villains and Vixens. It was in Orlando, Florida. So my husband and I took the night train down to Miami, and then we drove all the way down to the Florida Keys, and we went to the Everglades where I got so many mosquito bites that I legitimately looked like I had leprosy. Like I looked like you wouldn't want to put yourself within 10 feet of me, but they were just mosquito bites. And hopefully I don't get West Nile virus. And then we did a bunch of hiking, we did some canoeing, we did a lot of outdoor things, and then we drove back up to Orlando to go to Villains and Vixens, which is a book con. So they've got authors from all over the world, all over the country. You can get your book signed, you can buy new books, you can discover books that you didn't know existed. They had like a ball, and then we also had a bingo night and just a lot of other general social bookish activities. I bought not as many books as you would think. Like I think I bought probably the least amount of books of anybody there. I came back, I think it was maybe 10 to 12 books that I bought. So if you want a book haul from all the books that I bought at the Romanticy-Con, and then I went to 3 bookstores while I was in the area and bought more books there. So it's probably like 15 books in total. Let me know if you want a book haul. I personally feel like book hauls are boring. However, if you want to go over all of the books that I've bought and have yet to read, I'm happy to have somebody to show them to. So let me know if you want to see those. I read 4 of my July reads on vacation. We had a lot of driving. We had the overnight train. I finished the first book I'm going to talk about, which I feel like we need to get the haterade out of the way. We're going to talk about the book that I hated, that I rated 1 star. Is that how we should start out, on a negative note? Should I show you a 6-star first? I have so many good books in this list. I feel like I don't know what to talk about. But listen, if you want to skip around the video, I'm going to start out with a book that I hated because I feel like it's a very hot topic. They're making it into a movie, and I have never in my life hated a book as much as I hated this one. So we're going to talk about Verity by Colleen Hoover. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit of lore. Back in the day when I first started making book reviews, if I had an opinion that people didn't agree with, people's favorite thing to comment was, okay, Colleen Hoover, or like, oh wow, you have such terrible taste, you must really like Colleen Hoover. And I'm like, huh? I've never even picked up a Colleen Hoover book. I don't have any idea what that means. Love that you made that generalization about me based on a differing opinion. People used to say that to me because I don't really like The Cruel Prince. So apparently me not liking a fantasy book means that I like Colleen Hoover. This is the first ever Colleen Hoover book I've ever read, and I hated it. So that insult no longer works, because I don't apparently like Colleen Hoover. I haven't read any of her contemporary romance. Should I? Because this I know is nothing like any of her other books, but I hated this with a passion. And it was not a book that I hated the whole time I was reading it. I actually ate up 90% of this book, and it was like 50-50. Like by the time I got to the end, I was like, there is literally no telling whether this book is going to be 5 stars or whether it's going to be 1 star. I'm going to go into spoilers later on in this review, so I'm going to keep it spoiler free for now, and then I'm going to mark where spoilers are going to be if you don't want them for this book. But I feel like this has been out for so long that you guys are going to get mad if I don't talk about what I actually hated about it and try to hide the spoilers. So I will clearly label on screen, it will say spoiler above my head, and when I'm done talking about spoilers, I'll get rid of it. So you can just fast forward, or you can watch on silent and try to guess what I'm saying. Verity is about 2 authors. We've got an author, so basically one of these authors is a super famous writer. She was in an accident and she's basically kind of in a vegetative state now. So they are going to hire, her husband is going to hire another writer. I don't think you would call her a ghostwriter. It's not that, but she's going to take over this popular series that this author was writing and finish it for her, since this author can't write anymore. So they kind of were looking for somebody that had the same general writing style or someone that they thought could handle it, and she's going to finish the series. She gets to the house and it gets like spooky from there. So like the author is in a vegetative state. She's she can see apparently, but like she can't speak and she can't really move, and she has to have like at-home care 24/7. Spooky things start happening. Our main character starts to kind of catch feelings for the guy who hired her. Obviously, it honestly for a little bit it was kind of giving The Housemaid. Like if you've read The Housemaid, the vibes are really similar to The Housemaid. So I had no idea where the twist was going to go. When I tell you, the last 10 pages of this book ruined the book. You know when you have a plot twist that requires only new information for the plot twist to make sense? Like my favorite kind of plot twist is when it's dropped on you and all of the things that are being said or all of the information that you're getting now kind of makes you think back to things that you've read previously that didn't make sense before, but then now you're like, oh, that's what I was missing before. And it's sort of like a big, huge aha moment. The way that the plot twist was introduced, I didn't need to have read this entire book to understand the end. It made me feel like I completely wasted however many pages there were until the last 10. Let me see. About 300 pages. I wasted about 300 pages of my life, okay? This was the laziest plot twist I've ever read in my entire life. We're gonna get into spoilers now. Let me tell you exactly what I hated about this book. Number 1, the plot twist. So a lot of people, when I finished this book, were DMing me and they were saying, okay, so are you team manuscript or are you team letter? I'm gonna say something offensive. I don't think Colleen Hoover was thinking that deeply about her plot twist. I think you guys are reaching. I think we're making something out of nothing. And I think it literally doesn't make sense for there to be anybody who's team letter. Because if the letter was real, hold on, it's so confusing. It doesn't make sense, to be fake. It doesn't make sense for the letter to be fake. If the letter was fake, that literally, like if you've read the book, we're reading about this sociopathic, potentially psychopathic character who has unalived almost all of her children and was completely obsessed with her husband in a way that was like literally psychologically crazy. It does not make sense for the letter to be real, to be fake, because that, I don't know. We could go into I feel like the only good thing about this book is it probably leads to insane book club discussions, like book club discussions that are going to have fighting, theories, And that's a positive. Like, this is a great book club book. I'm going to be real. If you want to pick it up and read it for your book club, I would highly recommend this for a book club pick, because there are people who are going to like it. There are people who like this book. It's not like a universally bad book that everybody hated. I hated it. And if you have the same taste when it comes to twists and thrillers as me, you're probably going to hate it. However, you can argue with your best friend that loved it, and it would be quite a compelling argument and conversation. I don't think there is such a thing as manuscript versus letter, because if the letter is fake, that makes this book a negative 1 star, because that would be actually stupid. Like, that would be so dumb. Number 2, the fact that when we find out that this lady has been faking her injuries the entire time and she's been alive and she's had full mobility, the husband doesn't let her speak. He covers her mouth. What do you mean? What do you mean? If somebody had been messing with me for that long, you better believe, even if I was going to like lock them up or unalive them or do whatever, I would want to hear what they had to say. That doesn't make, I can't yell. I can't yell into this mic. I want to yell so bad. I hated this. And number 3, our main character, who's co-writing this series, means nothing. When we find out this lady has been faking, our main character is sketchy and she tells the guy, the husband, to kill her right away. That's sketchy behavior. But it turns out in the epilogue, our main character has just been a rando this whole time. She didn't have any ulterior motives. There was no reason that she prompted him to kill his wife. Like, what? There was all this foreshadowing about her being a sleepwalker, about her having, like, I'm not wrong, there was foreshadowing about her having something to do with her mom's unaliving. Like, the way she talked about that was weird. The way she talked about sleepwalking, and then her mom being on life support, and then coming off it recently as if she took her mom, like, I'm not dumb. It was suggesting that she, like, took her mom off life support. For what reasons? I don't know. But to go into the epilogue and suggest that our main character has just been a normal person that's not involved with this whatsoever the entire time, which would make sense if there hadn't been so much dumb, unnecessary foreshadowing that she was involved somehow, and then she just wasn't. So, makes no sense for neither one of them to let this lady speak, to cover her mouth, and immediately unalive her with no explanation. Like, that's so unrealistic. Number 3, I don't want to get canceled for saying this because I don't know anything about medicine and like this kind of thing, but for her to have coat hangered herself and to have one of her twins born with a scar on her face, no way. No way is that real. No way is it real for your child to come out with a scar on their cheek because you tried to coat hang. No way. Somebody, if you're a doctor, tell me whether or not that's real, because I wanted to laugh out loud at that part. And if I'm wrong and that's offensive, I'm sorry, but I don't believe that that's a thing. Anyway, the twist in this book basically being, I faked it all. I made it up for my book. You wasted my time. You wasted my time? Why do people think that this is 5 stars? Now, I hate it when people say that because I understand that reading is subjective. But I do have a question. If you like this book, completely valid. Great. It's not going to change whether or not I like it. But I do have a question. If you rated this 5 stars, because some people have said that this is the case, was this one of your like first like books when you got back into reading? Because I do feel like maybe if I had read it 3 years ago, I might have at least rated it a little bit higher. I don't think so, but maybe. So like if you rated this 5 stars and you recommend it to people, I want you to think actually like for real, would you rate it 5 stars today? After like being a reader for an extended period of time, getting back into reading a lot of thrillers if maybe you weren't reading a lot of them before, would this still be 5 stars? Because I do think that people are rating it 5 stars having it have been one of the first books that they read like as an adult or as a thriller. Like maybe this was your first thriller. I don't know. That I'm not trying to say that like this is a dumbed down elementary, like people are dumb if they read. That's not what I'm saying, but I do think that this book is probably rated higher for people who don't read a lot of thrillers. Maybe that's wrong. Maybe that's a generalization. But if you rated this 5 stars, would love to know why. Not in a negative, like, gotcha, you're wrong way. Like, I genuinely would like to know what you liked about this, because it might make me feel like maybe I'll hear someone's explanation and I'll go like, oh, okay, I didn't think about it that way. Would love for that to happen. If you hated it, let's trauma bond together, because this quite literally was the biggest waste of my time. People have been telling me to read this for years. I'm really sorry to have disappointed the people who recommended it to me. No hate. I'll take your next recommendation, no questions asked, but this one was a 1 star. I will be going to see the movie. I will be going to see Verity. People also are so mad. So the people who hate this book keep DMing me and they keep saying, well, that's what you get for reading Verity. Why the heck I actually had somebody say, well, why did you pick it up? Why did you read it? Like, she was basically saying like, you did this to yourself. I want to watch the movie. I want to see the movie, and I'm going to see the movie. And I wanted to read the book first because people said that the book was so good. And once you see the movie and see the the plot twist, obviously the book is not going to hit as hard because you're going to know what the plot twist is. Anyway, I hated The Housemaid by Freida McFadden, but I totally like had a great time with the movie. So I'm going to go see the movie. I live in North Carolina. If anybody wants to go see it together, let me know. I'm going to put a group together. I'll probably highly enjoy it. And I would love to see if the movie can make this book like better, like if I'm going to like the movie. Because I do feel like there were things that maybe could have been done that might have made it enjoyable. So maybe they can make the movie good. The book was terrible. One star. Now, a lot of people also try to tell me, because I am so picky about thrillers, I do have a lot of people pretend that they know me and they're like, girl, you just don't like thrillers. Like, it's because it's not romantic-y that you didn't like it. Tell me why I rated this thriller 5 stars then. Tell me, go ahead. Now, this is another one that I picked up. There's a theme here in my contemporary choices this month. This is going to be made into a Hulu TV show adaptation. And the reason that I'm excited about it is because it's going to have Nina Dobrev and Paul Wesley from The Vampire Diaries in it. They are going to be in this. I don't know who else is going to be in it. I'm excited. Number one, that it's going to be a TV show instead of a movie. And the book, 5 out of 5. 5 out of 5. And let me tell you how rare it is for me to rate a thriller 5 stars. I am so incredibly picky about thrillers, about the twist. A thriller can be like 5 out of 5 for 90% of the book, but if that 10% twist does not hit, I will be taking 2 stars off of that rating, okay? This was 5 stars. This is a suburban scandal. It's basically 3 couples who live in a cul-de-sac together, and 2 of them lived there before, and then a third one moved in, and they're all married, and then there is a particular lady, a particular character who doesn't like that a third couple moved in. She felt like she and the other girl were best friends, and now this third person has come in and like ruined their friendship. So it's a neighborhood scandal. At the beginning of the book, this is not a spoiler, it literally happens within the first like 15 pages, one of the husbands is unalived. So this book is basically a murder mystery, but also it is following the really toxic, twisted, weirdo lives of these wives and what they've been doing leading up from like when they moved in up until the husband was unalived. So who did it? Why? And the reason that this is 5 stars is because, let me tell you, I was a little bit, like I ate this up. Vibes read for days. It was so compelling, wanting to turn pages. I read it in 5 hours. I was getting towards the end and I was assuming that I knew how it was going to end, and you can't do that in a thriller, but sometimes you can. Sometimes you can, you're right about it, and it's disappointing. I was thinking I knew where this was going to go, and it did go that way, but then it didn't. This is one of those thriller books that you have to literally read up until the last page, or you will not have the full story. So don't be closing the book before you get to the epilogue. Don't be closing the book in the middle of the epilogue. You're not going to know the full circle of what happened until you get to the last freaking page of the book. And then it was 5 out of 5. I was actually like physically, I was mad. Was so mad at the last 10% of this book because I thought it was going to go downhill and I thought it was going to be a Verity situation. Oh my gosh, the end pulled it together. I felt a little ill. It was one of those, I don't know that I'd call it a twist, but it was one of those reveals where I was like, I'm questioning every single thing I've read up until this point, which is exactly how I wanted to feel in Verity. I wanted to feel that. I wanted to feel that sort of sick, like sinking sensation of, what do you mean? My head, like I got kind of tingly. I got like a little chill. Like it was good. It was so good. 5 stars. Would highly recommend. I think the TV show comes out this year, or it might be like early next year. But I hope this is a TV show that comes out like during spooky season, because if they as long as they keep the TV show true to the book, it's going to be a 10 out of 10. It's going to be so good. Highly recommend. Perfect for spooky season. If anybody's read Aggie Thompson's books before, are any of the other ones as good as this one? Because this one was really good. All right. I know you guys want to hear about the fantasy. Let me show you a 5-star fantasy book. Dominion by Kwok. Hello? This book is so slept on, and it was a 5-star masterpiece. Now, I do have some caveats about this one. So listen, this one is going to feel like a copy-paste, romantic-y military college book. Okay? It's got the tropes. It's got the dragon riding element, except it's tigers. When you get to the end of this book, you're gonna be so shook. This is a book that has a diabolical, like, thriller level plot twist. The way that this was so insane. And it feels like reading the Red Wedding episode of Game of Thrones. So we basically have an FMC in here. Number one, she's got bright turquoise hair, and we've got different dominions. So each dominion is a different element. So we've got like fire, water, air, onyx. I don't know what, I kind of still don't really know why we have onyx, but like they all have different elemental powers, and they all have different hair colors and clothing. Like they're kind of very themed. If you're an azure, you're blue. Your hair is a shade of blue and you wear blue clothing. So it's kind of like that. It's kind of giving like Avatar: The Last Airbender, mixed with Fourth Wing, mixed with Divergent, because we've got the separated like factions, but they're dominions. They are all in conflict with each other. And our FMC is basically, she's a blue. She's going to get involved with the Coppers. She's living in their world, and the Coppers, are they silvers? The silvers. They are the tiger riders. They go through bonding trials, and they bond and ride big, giant tigers with a Y. So our FMC gets thrown into their ritual, and she goes through the bonding trials. Obviously, she bonds with a tiger. I don't really think that's a spoiler. And then she attends this military college, you know, to be trained about riding the tiger, all of the things, getting trained with weapons. Our FMC actually fights with ribbons, and it's kind of a dance-like fighting thing. I loved the visuals in this book. This has a lot of Asian-inspired lore in it and visuals, so it's not just your typical sort of like, you know, white period piece setting and people. There's a lot of Asian mythology in here, and the setting was really beautiful and colorful and bright, and the fighting was really interesting. And our MMC, very interesting. He has copper hair, which I felt like was very nice and refreshing. Normally it's either like silver hair or dark hair, or sometimes, you know, they'll throw like a rogue blonde boy in there, but this guy had copper hair, which is kind of like a reddish color. I have to tell you something. I thought this was going to be a solid 3-star. Not that the vibes weren't vibing. This was like this was a page turner, and I finished this in a day and a half. So like the vibes were high vibes. I could not put it down, but I was assuming that I knew where it was going to go. And the way that the end threw me through a loop, that kicked the rating up to being 5 stars. The end was diabolical. There are parts that you're absolutely going to guess. There are some plot twists that are right in front of you that are super easy, that are predictable. There are also plot twists that are going to have you questioning everything. So this is another one. Read it till the very last page, you guys, okay? But this one's really good. 5 stars. If you like romantasy, you like that military college setting, but you want something that is way better, honestly, in my opinion, this is the best military college animal bonding trainer-trainee story that it's so good. It's so good. And I don't really want to tell you too much about it because I don't want to spoil the immaculate plot twist at the end. However, number one, this is my favorite romantasy book that I read this month. So I would put it on your TBR immediately and let me know what you think. Now I want to talk about high fantasy for a moment, and not to say that this does not have romance in it, but this was a high fantasy read. This was my other 5-star. This is a 5-star read number 3 in the list right here. This has such immaculate plot twists, character development. Like, this is kind of what I've been missing. This is the type of book I would have read like back in the day, like when I was in elementary, middle, high school. This is an adult book, but like the vibe is what I would have been reading. And I haven't read something like this in years. Everybody has been telling me to read this book. I've been putting it off, and that was a huge mistake. This is Portal Magic. So we have an FMC. She grew up reading this fantasy series, and the series were never finished. So it was written all except the last book. And now as an adult, one day she literally just wakes up and she has been portaled into her favorite fantasy series. So she woke up in the world of a fantasy book. So like imagine waking up and you're in Prithian. That's kind of what happened. She knows the events that happen. A lot of characters that she cared about ended up having really tragic, dark things happen to them. It's more similar to like if you were reading something like Game of Thrones, like, you know, where a lot of people don't end up happy and a lot of bad things happen. So she's ended up in this world, and she's going to try to alter the sequence of events and like sort of save the people that she cares about basically and give them a better outcome. And it's called This Kingdom Will Not Kill Me because if she is unalived, she is immediately regenerated and brought back, and she cannot die. So who knows if she'll ever make it out of this world because she keeps waking up. It's kind of like being in a game system and like being stuck in a game where you have infinite lives and you just come back every time. So I feel like she probably has a purpose that she has to solve, but she is basically trying to alter the timeline. There are plot twists. Not everything that she reads or has read in the past happens the way that she thought it would happen in the book. Some characters are not as they seem. Some people are unreliable. 5 out of 5. If this is not on your TBR and you're a fantasy reader, this is one of the best things that I've read all year. I feel like I should save my 4th 5-star so that you guys don't leave, but I know you guys want to hear me talk some shit. This was my 2-star read. This was the 2-star read, Dear Debbie by Freida McFadden. Now I have another caveat. Everybody asks me, they get mad because I rate a lot of Freida McFadden books low, and I've literally had somebody ask me, it's like you read these just so that you can talk shit about them. Like, why do you read her books if you don't like them? There's a misunderstanding. I love a Freida McFadden book. I love it. I will eat it up every time. However, if the ending is bad, it's gonna drop the rating of the book. So this book, I had a great time for 90% of the book, the plot twist just simply ruined the book, and I will never read it again, and I honestly probably won't recommend it. But I will read every single Freida McFadden book because the way she writes like crack in book form for at least the first part of the book, and sometimes her plot twists hit, but a lot of times they don't. So I have to go into a Freida McFadden book knowing that there's a 75% chance that I will not like the end of the book. However, there's like a 100% chance that I will like the first 90% of the book. And to me, that is just worth it. I like it. However, I am going to tell you if the plot twist sucks, this plot twist sucked, okay? So we have Debbie, who is kind of a columnist. So people write in and they ask her for advice and she gives them advice. And on the surface, she's a gardener and people write in asking for gardening advice. But there's a couple of layers beneath that, as there usually are. There's some shady stuff going on with her husband. And I will be quite honest with you, this book was so bad that I literally kind of don't remember enough about the plot to tell you what it was about. Like, that's all I remember. What I just told you, that's it. It's so surface level that it like went in my eyeballs and then out the back of my head. So that's really all I can tell you about it. Didn't like the ending. The plot twist was not good. Didn't like it. It had like 2 plot twists in it, and the second one was worse than the first one. And I kind of predicted what was going to happen, and I hate predicting a plot twist. So this one was just overall disappointing. 2 stars. If you want a vibes read, it's fun. It's really fun for the first 90% of the book. However, the plot twist was terrible, in my opinion. So I don't know if that will make you read it or not, but that's what I thought. All right, so one of my favorite books of all time is Bewitched by Laura Thalassa, and I have finally found a book that is giving those vibes. And I have met a book boyfriend that I'm kind of obsessed with. It's been a minute since I've liked a book boyfriend this much. I read What Darkness Brings by Jenna Wolfhart, and this book is really slept on. It's really slept on. Like, I was obviously, when you read a book that you've never heard of before, even I get a little nervous about it. I'm like, why is nobody talking about this book? But I do genuinely love kind of discovering and reading books that I don't see people talking about so that I can give the books that I think deserve the conversation. This was such a good time, and it was different. I feel like that's such a surface level way to say something, but like, we have a book boyfriend in here. He has frost ice powers. I feel like it's always a shadow daddy. So in general, it's refreshing when the MMC has something other than shadow powers. Number 2, we have an FMC who is a necromancer. She's got kind of 2 powers. So she can bring recently unalived people back, and when they come back, they have to do everything she says. So she brings back recently unalived people, and she's kind of like an assassin. So she'll bring them back in order to get intel, because when she brings them back, they have to tell her whatever she wants to know. So she will unalive some enemies, bring them back, get the intel that they didn't want to tell her before. And then she has a secondary power. She kind of uses these in the opposite way, where she can unalive somebody with 1 touch. So she uses her unalive 1 touch power to unalive them and then brings them back and makes them do her bidding. And similar, if you've read Bewitched and Bespelled by Laura Thalassa, every time she uses her power, it causes her excruciating pain and she loses one of her memories. So we have an FMC who remembers very little about her life. There's no journals, there's no diary, she doesn't write down her memories, she just kind of is, you know, letting it happen. What do you call it? She's just accepted her fate as like she'll not remember things. So she doesn't try to remember anything, doesn't keep any journals. Our silver-haired book boyfriend in here is so likable in like a good way. I know that I love a red flag. This man was just perfect. I liked everything about him from the moment we met him. He was written well. He was written well as a book boyfriend. I really ate him up. I like him a lot. And the cool thing about him is he remembers things about our FMC that she doesn't remember. Apparently she's been coming to him in his dreams. Both of these two kind of have like hidden memories, hidden past that they don't remember, obviously. The end of this book, diabolical. It's wild. It's wild. A lot of stuff goes down in the last like 20 pages. It's crazy. Lots of things are revealed. It wasn't exactly what I thought it was going to be. So there's that. It was a little plot. I wouldn't say that it's like a plot twist, because a lot of stuff, like, you know, when it happens, it makes a lot of sense, and it's like romantasy, it's fantasy. It's not like a super shocking plot twist, but it was crazy. It's crazy. Highly would recommend. This one I rated 4 stars. I feel like it does have the potential to be a 5-star series. I feel like there was a couple slow moments in here. Like, it started out really, really high energy, and I read the first like quarter of the book in one sitting. And then I got to a couple points in the middle where like I wanted to pick it up, but I wasn't like super excited. And then everything was worth it in the end. So I felt like this was a 4-star. I also took my dive into my first ever J.R. Ward book. Now, I know that J.R. Ward writes paranormal romance, and I have not read her Black Dagger Brotherhood series. I know that I should. I probably will, but I wanted to dive in with romantasy because this is her first ever romantasy, and romantasy is what I like. So I decided this is the book that I will try for this author. This one also had a diabolical ending that, again, I thought I knew what was going to happen, And I remember being like, getting to the end of the book, and I was listening to it on audiobook, and I was just kind of walking around, darting my eyes around, being like, wait a minute. I thought I got a little too like on my high horse for this book. Like I really thought I knew what was going on and I didn't, which is one of my favorite things. And again, I also wouldn't call it a plot twist, but it was a reveal. There's some reveals at the end of this book that are a little bit wild. And the thing that I liked about this one is it honestly felt a little more high fantasy than it did romantasy. Like there is a large romance plotline in here. There is spice in here. We do have a morally gray man. We've got banter, but I do feel like there was a lot of thought and planning put into the world, into the magic system, into the fantasy like lore of this book, and I really enjoyed that. I loved the lore, I loved the magical creatures. It kind of felt, I don't know if this is gonna make sense, it kind of felt like a slightly darker like Princess Bride type of feeling. I feel like you have to read the book for that to make sense, but it's got a little bit of like, it's kind of slapstick humory at some points, it's got some characters that are silly, it's got some banter that's silly, but then it's also like dark, and it's got high stakes and like, you know, a sort of a darker high fantasy feel to it, but it did feel kind of fun, like fun romantasy, but also dark romantasy at the same time. It's kind of got a heavy mixture of both, and I don't know if that makes sense, but it makes sense if you read the book. There are dragons in this series, and I think they are going to play a larger part in the upcoming books in the series. This is book 1 in a series. I rated this one 3.75. I think it was good. I think it's going to get better. I do think it's one of those series where the second book is going to pop off. I think the second book, kind of like an ACOTAR situation, I think the second book is what is going to either like really tie me into the series or have me like not continue it. Like this was great. I do think that I read a lot of 5-star books this month, so this one had a lot to live up to. So I feel like this was a really, really good time. I loved the fantasy. I loved the diabolical ending. I am very excited to read book 2. I'm predicting, my hypothesis is that book 2 is going to be the 5-star for this one. All right. The last book I read in July was literally life-altering. I've never read a book like this in my life. Into the Blue. Number 1, you're probably sitting here like, why did you read this? This is nothing like what you ever read. You're a romantasy girly. I'm not a romantasy girly. Like I am, but I'm not only a romantasy girly. Like I have grown up reading all types of books. I like fiction. I like contemporary romance. I like thrillers. I like emotional damage in any form. I like historical romance, historical fiction, fantasy, sorry, not historical. I don't love historical fiction. I love historical fantasy. Into the Blue is a contemporary love story / romance. I know that doesn't make sense. It's literally both. There's no other way to describe it. When you read it, it makes sense. You'll see what I'm saying, but it is literally both. Like it's not a romance, but it's also not just a love story. I don't know. This had, if you want to be emotionally wrecked, like if you want to feel every single emotion you could possibly contain in your body, this is the book you need to read. So this is also a book for theater nerds. If you're not a theater nerd, I think you'll still like it, but this is a little bit niche. I went to school for theater. I did theater all through high school, and then I ended up going to school for theater and film, and I ended up getting a job in film and in post-production reality TV after graduating. So like this spoke to me on a literal spiritual level. This could have been me. This could have been me, except you know, not with the story that happens. But basically, we have a main character that we meet. She's in high school. She has this dream of going to college for the arts, for film, and being a writer for SNL. So she is obsessed with this sort of like Star Trek vibes TV show. It's like an old campy sort of spacey TV show. She's watched like her comfort show. She's watched it her entire life. She ends up meeting the son, or there's a guy that she meets that's basically related to multiple of the actors that were in that show. His I think his aunt and her husband were stars in the show, and then his dad and his whole family are like famous actors. So she ends up meeting him. They both get a job together at a video store. So it's basically like 90s vibes, early 2000s blockbuster. Feels like a beautiful, reminiscent, like nostalgic early 2000s period piece, and I loved that. They obviously catch feelings. They start acting together. She gets involved with him and his aunt, and she gives them like acting lessons. Our girl who wants to be a writer finds out that she can act. We've got things that happen throughout this book. These characters get separated, but then their paths keep intertwining, almost like fate is bringing them together. It's so like whimsical, but also the most realistic, raw, emotional thing you will ever read. It feels at times like you're reading a fairy tale, like you're reading a campy TV show, like you're reading something magical, and then it'll feel like the most ugly, real, like raw human emotions ever. Like it literally has everything in it. If you want a book that is going to make you feel, the last 50 pages of this book, I think gave me 1 or 2 gray hairs. Like my cortisol was so high. I was sweating. I was binge eating. Like I didn't want anybody to talk to me. Like I was so locked into this book. I had no idea how it was going to end. It was so stressful. It was so stressful, but that is kind of like, I'm a masochist. That's my favorite thing. I love to be stressed out when I'm reading a book, as long as the ending is worth it. And this one is kind of a weird case because I finished it. I had to close the book and I had to sit on it and like think about it for 3 whole days before I decided what my actual rating for this was going to be. Because I wasn't sure. If I felt so conflicted that I didn't even know what I wanted to rate it, which I think honestly, in my opinion, that's a very hard thing to do for somebody like me as a reader. It's hard to like emotionally affect me like that. So I had to give it props for that. But ultimately, I settled. I thought about it. This is a 5-star book. There's no other rating that is correct for this book other than 5 stars. So contemporary, but it does feel a little whimsical. Like it feels a little, these two have sort of a magical connection. There are magical circumstances that seem to be bringing them together. And not only does it feel like fantasy magical, but it's like, it feels like a play. Like when you're in a play together and you have this energy that's not permanent. Like you have this energy that only lasts as long as like the lights are up on the stage. That's like kind of how this book feels. I really don't want to cry on a YouTube video. So we're going to get it together. I really haven't felt this emotional about a book in a while. Like it felt like it was like literally digging in my chest and like personally attacking me, but also it not in a selfish way. Like I feel like anyone who reads this book is probably going to feel like this book is personally connected and attacking them. I feel like it's going to feel like that for a wide range of people. There are like very relatable experiences in this book. There are some experiences in here that I've never had to deal with that I don't know about, but I felt while I was reading with this character, I felt like I was experiencing them. So lots and lots and lots of emotions. We're going to stop talking about it now because I haven't thought about or picked this book up since I finished it, and I'm not ready to be sad again. So we're going to put it down, but know that it was 5 stars. And that's a wrap. That's a wrap on my July books. But I do want to show you the 3 that I'm reading in August that I think are going to be potentially 6 stars. So now I feel all uncomfortable. Now I got sweaty talking about that book. So that should tell you that you should read it. That's how it's affecting me. So book number 1 that I'm currently reading that I'm pretty sure is going to be 5 stars. I'm trying not to read or listen to too much about it because I feel like the people who have read this book, they keep trying to get a little spoilery with how they're describing it. They talk about how the end is a little diabolical, and I don't want to hear that. I want to experience it myself. However, Who Hears the Waters Call? This is by Sophia St. Germain, who wrote the Compelling Fate saga, and this is Norse mythology. It is a Viking war college, and listen, our MMC is blonde. He's blonde. But he's doing it for me. He's doing it for me. I don't know where this is going to go. Apparently, the author has confirmed she likes blonde men, okay? So I don't know if we're going to have a Tamlin situation or if she's rage baiting us. But this guy is giving heavy book boyfriend material. But this is War College. Right now, it's sort of giving like Norse mythology. I'm about 125 pages in. So it's giving Norse mythology, but it's giving like kind of what book 1 in Legends of Thesmar felt like. It feels a little bit like that, except our MMC in here is kind of a red flag. Like he's giving like asshole vibes and I'm loving it. I'm eating it up. It's been a minute since I've read about a spicy book boyfriend. Like they've all been kind of green flaggish lately. And this guy's giving like rakish behavior. He's acting a little rakish, little rat boy vibes. And I love it. So I have no idea where this is going to go right now. I'm barely like over 100 pages in. So we'll see. But this book has very, very, very good reviews. It also has very split reviews. So there are some reviews out there that are like really bad and then a lot that are really good. So I do feel like when it's a divisive book, for me, that does mean I'm either going to love it or I'm going to hate it. I generally have very strong opinions about books that people love or hate, and I will let you know which side I'm on when I finish it. However, right now I'm vibing with it. I love it. Now, I don't remember who it was, but somebody very recently put this in my DMs and told me it was a God tier book. If that was you, let me know who it was. I don't remember who it is, but somebody put it in my DMs recently and was like, oh, I'll add it to my TBR. And I just realized I got it from Villains and Vixens. I got it from the BookCon I picked it up. I already had it. So I think this is the same author who wrote The Fate of Ophelia. Anyway, this book is a vibe. It is my favorite color. I have no idea what it's about. I know that people are liking it, and I have really high hopes for it. I have not read the Fate of Ophelia series yet, so should I read that first? I don't think these are related at all. However, this one's prettier, and I kind of want to read this one first. But this one's sort of like a wild guess. Like, I'm throwing it out there that I think it's going to be a 5-star read, but people do be asking me to read this one a lot, so that has to mean something. And a lot of people told me to read Between Tides and Thunder, and that ended up being like one of my favorite things that I've read this year, so I'm hoping this will fall into the same category. Now, this one, you guys, people are obsessed with this next one. Hide the Witches by Miranda Lynn. I've heard this has a plot twist in it. I think this has a plot twist in it. I've also heard people are obsessed with this book. Like, people really like it. So obviously I'm putting it on my TBR. I do think that there's going to be witches in it. This isn't one that I've started yet, so I can't really tell you anything about the vibes of it yet, other than I'm pretty sure it has witches, and I'm not going to read the back of it because I like to go into my romantasy books completely blind, so I don't want to know anything about it. I have read one other Miranda Lynn book before. It was Till Death. That one was fine. It was a good time. It's not one that I talk about a lot. Like, it was fine. It was a fine read. It wasn't bad, and it wasn't the best thing I've ever read. I liked it. I had a good time, but I do feel like I have actual, like, really high hopes for this one. And people love Miranda Lynn. I would love to read more of her stuff. I feel like I started with a book that, like, wasn't her first book and wasn't her most recent. It was just sort of somewhere in the middle. So maybe that's my bad. I started with the wrong one. But we're gonna read Hide the Witches. I met her at Villains and Vixens. She was super nice. I loved her vibe, loved her energy. I can't wait for this to be my next read. And if there's another favorite Miranda Lynn book out there, let me know what it is, because I do feel like Till Death is not one I hear people talking about a lot. So, like, let me know if I missed it and I should have started with a different one. All right, that's all I have for you with my July reads and August 5-star hopefuls. Let me know if there are any books that I should add to my TBR. I am potentially going to read Steelborn because I got it in my Allurial box, and I'm also reading The Dark in Her Veins, which I got from my Allurial box. I've been putting off The Road of Bones. I know that I need to read The Road of Bones. I've told you guys I'm going to read The Road of Bones. I'm literally terrified to read it, also because people keep telling me that the first book is slow. And I know I can't be a hypocrite because I get on the internet all the time and I say, if you guys are DNFing books or not wanting to read series because you have to deal with world building for there to be a payoff that's actually worth it, I know I have to read a book that's maybe not necessarily, but I just wish people hadn't said that about it, because my thing is, like, if I go into a book and there's a lot of world building and it's what I would call slow, but still kind of compelling at the same time, and I'm reading it as my own experience, like, I will never DNF a book for that reason. Like, I will read it, but hearing that it's slow before I've read it, that's a different thing. Like, if somebody's telling me a book is slow, that's not going to make me want to pick it up. I wish people had told me nothing about it so that I could have picked it up, read the first book that is potentially a little bit slower, probably ended up really liking it by the end, and then moving on and, like, reading a god tier series. But all I hear about it is the first book is slow, and I'm just like, y'all are doing everything but convincing me to pick this book up. So Road of Bones has been on my potential TBR for the second half of this year. So maybe I'll pick it up. If you can convince me to read it, convince me to read it. I don't know, because everybody always kind of, like, I get really excited to read it and then everybody talks about how slow it is and then I put it back down. So that was my June. It has officially been the hottest summer of the year. I wanted to tell you guys, if you live in the Triangle area, if you're close to Raleigh, North Carolina, whatever, even like Charlotte, Wilmington, whatever, if you're in driving distance to North Carolina, I do get-togethers and hangouts all the time. We are going for a hot girl walk this next weekend on the 16th, where we're literally going to meet up at a trail, put in our audiobook headphones, not talk to each other, and walk for like 2 miles. That is like the antisocial person's best social activity, because you get to be around people and you don't have to talk to anybody and you're all doing something you love. We also are going to have Girl Rot Day this weekend, which is where we're going to watch the entire first season of XO Kitty, and then we're going to go for a walk after we do. I like to walk, so we're like, optional walk is in there. But basically that's another antisocial social activity, because you get to sit down, eat snacks, watch TV, not really talk, but like talk if you want to, but it's like not required for the gathering. I hate gatherings that like talking is required. So basically we do a lot of antisocial book girl activities. I host a lot of these. We do book bedazzling. I moderate a lot of author things at Brightside Bookstore and Burning Pages. But anyway, I have a WhatsApp community. I have it linked in my, like in the little link area of my YouTube channel. If you want to go, it's called like North Carolina Locals or something like that. And you can hang out. You can hang out. If you're anywhere within driving distance and you'll visit for even like 1 or 2 every few months, you're welcome to join the community, even if you're not like local. And then I'm also doing bookish retreats. Unfortunately, it's too late now that I've come on here to tell you I have already launched my Outlander themed Scotland trip for 2027. That one is sold out. However, you can get on the wait list. People drop. I am doing so many bookish retreats in 2027. We're going to do Costa Rica in January. That one is going to be next to launch. So if you're interested in coming with me and Kayla Books, we're both going to Costa Rica middle of January. It's going to be either the 2nd or 3rd week of January. That one has not gone live yet, so it's not sold out. You have the opportunity to join that one. If you're looking for details on that, I also have a WhatsApp travel chat. It's free. You just join it to get the inside scoop, and I send my booking links in there first. So if it sells out in WhatsApp, I don't put it on social media, unfortunately. Scotland never made it to social media. So you can join the chat. You can also join my email list. I also do send priority links and information to the email list. If you don't want to be in a group chat and you just want to get emails and you're a little like, I want to be social, but I want to be email level social. I don't want to talk to you all the time. Join the email list. Everything you ever need to know is in the email list. Merch drops, retreats, bookish events. I'm working on being a little bit more organized and like giving you weekly updates on like what we're doing in North Carolina, what we're doing internationally, what I'm doing with merch, what book I recommend. I'm working on an actual like entertaining newsletter. I've been really bad at newsletters recently, but we're getting there now. So if you want to connect in any way, those are all of the ways that you can connect. I also have a licensed merch line for Zodiac Academy, Heartstrings Duet, all the Liv Xander stuff, Carrie Lake, Melissa K. Roach, so many other people. And that is also in my link. I literally have a website called thatgirlreads.com. If you go to thatgirlreads.com, it's got literally everything. It has all the retreat info. It's got all the merch. It's got the Zodiac Academy reading orders. I'm really bad at promoting that type of thing, but it's literally myusername.com. So if you go there, that's always going to have every single thing you ever need. And also you can hear me yap about it on YouTube. So that's it. That's all I've got. Let me know what your favorite read of July was and maybe what your most anticipated read of August is. Are we reading any of the same books in August? That's my wrap up. Are you mad at me about my Verity review? Do you agree? Do you disagree? I cannot wait to talk to you guys about Verity in the comments. If you want an entire freaking video dedicated to my Verity thoughts, I'm happy to give that to you, but I feel like I don't like making videos that are purely negative, and that one I would just be angry the entire time. However, if that's entertaining, I'll be happy to give it to you. But let me know if you want my Villains and Vixens / indie bookstore in Florida and Charleston book haul. Happy to show you all of those books if you want to see them. A lot of the books I've never heard of before, so would love some insight on what order I should read them in. Maybe I'll do a book haul and I'll like rank them in order of how good I think they're going to be. Hopefully the authors don't watch and get offended because it's literally like I don't know anything about the books. So that would be a completely like random rating, but I can rank them and then you guys can let me know how accurate my ranking is based on which ones you've read. But that's it. Make sure you subscribe. I'll be here weekly with videos. I'll be back with book reviews. I'll be back with a book haul if you want it. And make sure to let me know what you thought about Verity in the comments because I really just want to argue with people in a nice, fun way. Like I want to debate Verity. I wish I had a book club meeting about Verity because I just want to talk about it. I want to hear all of the views. I want to see if maybe like I'm dumb and just didn't get something. So let me know what you thought in the comments. And if you want to go see it together, let me know. We're gonna put a movie theater party together for Verity. So if you're anywhere nearby, let me know and I'll make sure that you get on the list to go with us so that we can hate watch it together. All right, you guys, that's it. Goodbye.